6:42 in the morning.
Ready?
Yep,
I call this meeting to order.
and now we need the roll call. Roll call. Okay. Bob,
Yes.
I'm here. Julie,
Here.
no Barbara. Carol,
Here.
Joyce,
Here.
no Carol and Don. Ann is not here.
Here.
Lisa. Lisa's here, okay. Okay, we're good.
Report minutes of the June 16th meeting.
Okay. Anybody have any changes, or anybody want to read them, or? Wait. Papers, yeah, they're stuck.
Nothing much has happened since last time.
Nope.
Okay.
Hmm? Anybody have any changes to them?
Nope.
You still reading? Take it down. No, take it down. It's only,
It's just,
did you have any changes?
lunches will not begin. I thought we were go for lunches.
Well, if you want an update to the minutes, we only just
No,
found
not-
out early this week that
Oh.
Yeah,
lunches
well,
will
not-
be starting.
Yeah,
they
you can
will.
do that on the other update, but as far as the last meeting was concerned.
Right.
It's
On
miss-
that date.
Oh, all right. Yeah, because now we're go, right?
Where go?
Okay, good. All righty. Thanks. Yeah.
No changes.
Okay. Okay, need a motion?
Need a motion to accept it?
Aye.
So Carol, your motion is to accept the,
Yes.
approve the June 16th minutes.
Yes.
We need a second?
You need a second?
I will second it.
Okay. All those in favor? Any discussion?
Any discussion in? Hearing none?
All those in
All those
favor?
in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
aye, aye,
Unanimous.
aye. Okay.
Report from the Director of Senior Services.
Okay. So June was the close of the town's fiscal year. So in some ways, this is a very interesting snapshot of how we tracked for an unusual year because many activities weren't offered. So what you'll see here is in the top part for wages, we kept the clerk's position unfilled, so the full budget remained by the end of June. That money reverts to the general fund for the town. The transportation budget was also fairly generous. There was very little transportation activity throughout the year, other than people who would call in where we would do one-on-one rides for medical or personal trips, like for groceries, to the post office, to the bank, okay? So there was a good chunk of that transportation budget for wages was unused, okay? The senior lunch program, as you know, we didn't have the lunch program, but we still had a staff person on and off who's half senior lunch program, half activities. So part of those wages for that person come out of the lunch program. And we had about, I'd say, a third of those wages unused at the close of the fiscal year. And then for outreach, which is not a full-time position, we came closest to exhausting the town appropriation to pay that position. And keep in mind, that position is subsidized or partially paid by a federal Title 3B, as in boy, grant administered through West Mass Elder Care. So that's the wages. The other wage position, portion is down at the bottom under formula grant. The first row says activity. There was almost $600 of wages there. That's the other half of the activity senior lunch program person. That's Rachel now, okay? But as you know, there was no lunches pretty much through the last fiscal year, and sometimes that position went unfilled. So the combination of the two explains why we had budget left for wages on that position. Under town accounts, office supplies, we pretty much exhausted that budget. You know, there's a saying, if you don't use it, you lose it the next cycle. Postage, we largely unused, because if you go to the bottom, you'll see we exhausted it under the state formula grant category. I did find the balances. Remember, for a long time you were asking why there were negatives. Well, I dug and I found the balances, because the allocations will matter when we go to renew for formula grant allocation somewhere in the next 3 months. The state was slow in getting to a budget agreement, so ordinarily we might have seen the RFP for the formula grant renewal. It's not even out yet. So the good news is I'm not behind. But in the process of looking for that paperwork, I found the allocation. So the majority of the formula grant we use in the activities area, and doesn't have to solely be wages, but that's the largest amount there for 93. We get a total of $15,000 in formula grant last cycle. The largest amount went to activity. There was an allocation for conferences and training of $555. Some was used to pay for like certifications and training where it's not a free training. I think we pay our subscriptions to like the Massachusetts Council on Aging organization comes out of there. Okay. We use some of it for postage, $600. We exhausted all of that. Newsletter printing is a very big category, and we managed to use that entirely. The $350 for newsletter printing at the bottom, coming out of the formula grant allocation. Basically, knowing the end of the fiscal year was coming, I put in an order for number 10 envelopes that have our bulk mail permit on them. So we go through close to 2 boxes every month with the newsletter. So I basically keep about 4 boxes on hand. That looks like what it was like when I came in. So I'll just keep that going. And then office supplies, we have some budget left in the bottom. The $391 that we spent in June covered letterhead that we were running low on, so that goes out to our printer, a new shredder machine that we have to have because of some confidential work related to outreach. There's a few other things in there, but without getting on my computer, I can't tell you. So that's the formula grant area at the bottom, and interestingly, what's left over in the far right column of the 15,000, it looks like we left unused about 1,350 if you add up those 3 values. So not bad. I would have loved to have spent it all, but I think my understanding is that for whatever we request for the next cycle, they will deduct what was unused. This will carry over in, okay?
I wonder if they'll make exceptions.
They may make exceptions. So, and I brought in a former director from a long time ago who's a good acquaintance, Betty Innocent, and I had her talk to me about the formula grant process for the next go-around, and she said, and I showed her this, that we had money left. She said, you can write a letter and make a case why you would like to be able to not have this lower our next cycle, and we would like to use it for, say, purchasing 3 wheelchairs or something, because we're out of wheelchairs, okay? And she said, don't go look for used wheelchairs, but shop new wheelchairs and state your case, if that's the argument you'd like to make, but something like that. So I will certainly consider submitting a letter to be allowed to try and use this money.
Yeah.
So if we go back to the town accounts, so the office supplies, we came close to exhausting. Even though we have office supply budget down under formula grant, it's just the way they were posted. Postage went largely unused because we used the formula grant postage allocation. We had money left for repair and maintenance of vehicles, repair and maintenance of office equipment. We had largely left. The $125 expended in June for that category was for the plumber who was used to hook up the new dishwasher in the kitchen. The electrician is up in the first line item, office supplies. It's where it was allocated, because the line item to buy the dishwasher, for the dishwasher, was consumed entirely by the price of the dishwasher. So there was nothing left for installation, and I had to get it installed. So a decision was made up in administrator's office on where to allocate. So part of that is electrician. I can't remember the other supplies because I can't get on my computer, I apologize. Printing, the June expenditure is, once again, the RICO lease, our copier in the office of the center. We pay a monthly lease of about $135. And on the donation accounts, what you're seeing here is we're in good shape on the far right column in terms of what we're accumulating, which tells me I'm going to feel a little more comfortable, save with the Thanksgiving basket fund. I'm going to make a change. We're not giving out frozen whole turkeys. We're going to give out frozen breasts. They're easier for people to handle and cook. It's not too big. I've known many elders in town where it is wasted. It's mothballed in a freezer for years, or it's not cooked properly, and some have gotten sick. So I've called around, started getting prices, and I think it's worth the step, but I will shop it competitively. It'll be a little bit more money, and if we do about 80 boxes again, as we did last year, and I know last year was different because there were some COVID school households that we gave boxes to. But if I assume that, I know roughly what it's going to run, and we have plenty of money to shift to that. The big income for general gifts in June, there were some donations there, but the $2,531 is largely comprised of the generous award we got through Florence Savings Bank Community Choice Grant. So that's very much appreciated, and that's what added to that donation balance to the far right. Okay?
But that's not the whole thing, that's just...
Not the whole thing.
Okay.
About $2,200 was the grant, and the rest came in through checks, $100, $50, $25. Okay?
That's good.
Yeah. So largely, we're in good shape. I was trying to spend as much as we could at where we needed it so that we don't necessarily lose it, but in all fairness, the center was not fully operational, so there should be budget going back to the general fund. So, but I think we have a good crew right now, so I think we're very stable in terms of what to expect for wages, and I think we will keep the clerk's position unfilled until we rethink that if we really need help. So we'll just see how we are going to do going forward. Next step is lunches, starting Monday, August the 16th. It'll be 3 days a week for the first 3 weeks. We want to make sure everyone's staying healthy and feels comfortable in the lunchroom. We're going to be spacing tables out and putting 4 people at a table, because I think we're all well aware we're not done with this. And you sit here for an hour, and maybe on a day when there's a blood pressure clinic, you're here a little bit more than an hour. And if the weather's good, windows and doors will be open. If it's humid, they won't, but we want to just make sure everything goes well. And then after that, Monday through Friday.
So for how long? 3
3
days?
weeks.
3
West Mass
weeks.
Elder Care said we could do that.
Okay.
And what days?
Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
I usually come on Tuesdays, so.
You can decide if you,
need me.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
We'll let you
I
know.
can
And some of you may have
Thursdays.
received calls on August the 4th. West Mass Elder Care Nutrition Department will be here to do a training for Rachel and I and Dawn and a group of volunteers who have expressed an interest in the lunchroom volunteers to get the allergen certification and the sanitation certificate certification. And it is sufficient for us to be offering lunches with those. We're not going to go serve safe until we know what the future looks like. And so I think we have a good group of volunteers who will be here from 9 to 10 on Wednesday, August the 4th to do that.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's me, right?
Yes, I think you're on
Put
that
it
list,
on your
Joyce.
refrigerator.
Yeah.
Okay, and do you want me to tell you now what day I'm gonna do, or? do you-
No, it's okay.
Doesn't-
But you're nimble. I'll check with Rachel to see how she's
Okay.
shaping up for Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Right, okay. Yeah.
Okay. Any questions?
No, August 4th, the training is,
9 to 10 here.
and sanitation.
And allergen.
And allergen.
And I need to press the local Board of Health. We need to get our site license renewed. It's expired. So I've already put 2 emails into them, so I will make a call next and say,
You might be better off to make a personal visit. Well, sometimes it works better.
yeah.
Couple of calls and then knock on the door. Here I am.
I'm calling you, I'm on your doorstep.
Yes, right. Are you home?
Look out your window. I'm here.
Okay.
It's kind of important to get that.
Oh,
You
oh, right.
You need that, right?
Oh, goodness. Guess what? I didn't do the tracking on mine.
Yeah, that's okay. I didn't have any of those other papers, so.
Okay, so everything is generally up, I think.
Yes, yeah, you only had, brown bag was down 1 from last month.
Yes,
And everything else, miscellaneous is down under transportation, down by 2.
yeah.
And wellness calls down by 43.
Yeah, so what we're doing is, we're doing Fridays only typically, because we're doing other types of calls, which I didn't write down. We're calling craft, we're trying to drum up business here for craft and certain activity groups, so there's a lot of more calls going on. And part of that was in June, I didn't have Rachel till the 15th, and there was only so much telephoning I could do with the other things. So we said, if we do anything, I'll do Fridays. But we're stepping up, starting to put in, it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday calls. The Friday only list is longer than the Monday, Wednesday, Friday list, because those people had agreed a while ago to be called 3 times a week. Sometimes we mostly leave messages. Some people sound a little irritated that we're still calling them, so we say, would you like us to just call you on Fridays? And that's a sort of a happy compromise, but they do need to be. And if we get no answer, we'll end up calling on neighbors or, say, someone in the office at, say, Finn's Hill, so
Do you
it's
have
important.
a list of other contacts?
Some,
for those?
yeah, we do. Okay.
Otherwise, you'd have a terrible job trying to get it done.
Okay, so that's it on the, is it just the financials, or can I talk about other items?
Well, then we go into the new business,
Okay,
which
got
is
it.
Title
Okay.
380.
So,
Okay.
on July the 9th, we submitted the proposal for the renewal. We were given the chance to rebid. The last 2 fiscal year cycle was the first time the Council on Aging ever bid to get Title 3B federal grant funds through West Mass Elder Care as the administrator. That is used for outreach. There are other forms of Title III grants, but we're not going through that as of yet. So when I got into this position as interim, there was an immediate deadline for a letter of intent, so I stuck my foot in the door to make sure we didn't lose the opportunity to bid. And the goal was, I wrote back in late April, because the letter was due the end of April, that we would like to maintain the expansion of our outreach program and the sense was I saw a basis that we could get a little bit more. They accepted the letter, and I spoke about this topic, I think, in our May, I let you know in May that I did the letter of intent. And in June, I was I hadn't begun the proposal. I didn't have the full proposal application from West Mass Elder Care, but it got written basically after our June meeting. And in it, and Bob had to sign off on it right before we submitted. There were signature pages. But basically the gist was, in the last 2 fiscal years, even though Chloe had written for a more generous funding through the grant, they gave us half the amount. So instead of 10,000, they gave us 4,000 to be shared over 2 fiscal years. So we basically got like 2,200 each fiscal year, 4,400 total. That basically paid for 2 extra hours a week for our outreach worker, who was budgeted through the town for 10 hours a week. So now Diane Morgan would work 12 hours a week. Often that is woefully small number of hours, especially during open enrollment, which is mid-October to early December, but it was better than nothing. So I wrote the proposal to say I would like basically $10,000. I wanted 4 hours more a week for her over the 10, so from 12 to 14, okay? That seemed like a not too greedy an ask. And in the meantime, between the letter of intent and writing the proposal, she got a raise that was long overdue. We pay our outreach worker in this town a little low, especially for the skills that she brings to the job. So I spoke to West Mass Elder Care. I said, between letter of intent and proposal now, I have a pay increase, and you figure out your grant proposal ask based on the wage for that worker. And she says, it happens all the time, so just give the justification. So I didn't ask for more money. It just said that instead of 4 hours, I could afford 3.2 hours more a week, okay? So it's in. We will know in early September if we've been accepted. So if we're lucky, we get Title IIIB grant monies. It preserves what we had and gives us a little more, okay?
I'm thinking the board needs to vote because Bob signed it.
Okay.
Let me, I'll make the motion, but I'm gonna try and talk it through. So the motion is to approve Bob Camus signing
the grant proposal submitted by
Title IIIB?
Title IIIB as in boy, which is basic,
Grant proposal.
which it was to continue and expand the outreach program effort.
Okay, so here's the motion. To approve Bob Camus signing the Title IIIB grant proposal to continue and expand the outreach program effort.
Yes.
We need a second.
Second.
Okay. Any questions?
Any questions?
Nope.
All those in favor?
Aye. 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 Okay, motion
Aye.
passes.
Thank you.
Okay. Now you have status of opening up.
Okay. So August has got, the newsletter went to the printer. It will be mailed next week. We'll be stuffing it on Wednesday, and in it is a full schedule of activities, including the announcement that lunches start on Monday, August the 16th. We're actively calling from an older lunchroom roster. We asked West Mass Elder Care Nutrition Department to give us the last available roster they had, but they're so backlogged there, we haven't had an answer. So we dug, and we're calling off one. We're trying to get a sense, because the July newsletter had a survey that said, will you come? Will you come back in if, okay? And will you take the shuttle if there's more than one passenger in there but they're masked? Because some people need the shuttle to get to lunch. I've had 2 responses, so this is where we do phone calls, because we're gonna need to give a head count to get started for the first day, and then I guess once we thread that needle, while we have people, they'll say, will you be back for Wednesday? Will you be back for Friday? So, in the past, if we have 20, that's 5 round tables, we have room for that. If we have more than that, we'll just have to space it out more. Yeah.
A little further out, that's all.
So that's the plan, and let's hope we can get to the end of August safely, and then we'll go to 5 days a week, so.
Now, activities, are you increasing activities in August?
Yes, yep. So
You're
some didn't get,
basically be fully opened
we're fully opened,
now, or when?
we're now.
Okay.
What time are the newsletters?
Okay, so Wednesday we're gonna stuff.
I know, what time?
Why don't you come for 10? The labels are already on the envelope, so it'll be a shorter session.
Oh, okay, good, that's good.
Okay, Dawn needed some
Roger.
effort, so I let her do it last week.
Okay,
So it's
good.
all set up in the bins.
All right, 10 o'clock.
We're just waiting for the box. We're waiting for the menu from West Mass Elder Care Nutrition, which would be the lunchroom menu. As soon as we have that, we can print that. And on the other side, we're putting the August activity calendar. So it'll be double-sided insert,
So one insert.
one insert, right?
Good. It's easy
Okay?
for folding.
Yes.
Could I ask about the menu? I thought, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought the menu looked very small. Was the menu smaller than usual? I had trouble.
You saw it?
No, I mean the
Oh,
last one.
it's incredibly tiny.
Yeah,
That's how it comes from
I know a lot of
them.
people have bad eyes.
I can't even read it.
Can you guys
So what we-
make it larger when you copy it?
Well, no, I can't make it larger because then it goes off the page. It's just a ridiculous format. I've tried to at least lighten up, to make it crisper, because when you work off of their PDF, it's so muddy.
It's bad. Yeah,
It's
I
bad.
thought it very
It's really
small.
hard. Maybe I'll get
Do you
him.
have the ability to convert the PDF into a Word document, or whichever they use?
And what would we do? So it might, what if it spills into more pages, then it's more postage, it's, I don't care about
You could
postage.
edit it. If you have the ability to change it from a PDF into whatever, so
Maybe.
you could edit.
Okay.
I think Kathy might. If
yeah,
not, I do.
okay. I'm just not sure what that would allow us to
Well, if you
do.
can make it a little, I don't know, if,
Yeah, it's, you know what it looks like, you
Yeah.
saw it. It's a lot of information landscaped onto an 8.5 by
I wonder
11.
how come it's so small now and it wasn't before?
It wasn't?
I don't know. I looked at this one and I said to myself, whoa,
It has
this is
been that
very
way.
small.
It has been that way
So
since
long.
I've been here. I thought,
Uh-huh.
who can read this?
Well, yeah, a lot of people have bad eyes. It's hard. Let's face it, we're seniors.
Well, I want you to know, I've been getting involved with bingo door prize ideas, and I've just ordered a bunch of 10x magnifying glasses, because I
Oh,
find
good.
having one in the house is just terrific, especially when you're
It's
reading
good
the
for bingo.
ibuprofen bottle or something.
Yes. Or the menu.
Or the menu. I know it's hard.
Okay.
Or
I just thought I'd
we'll work
mention
on it.
I
No.
just thought I'd mention it.
All right,
Don't
maybe
make it a
before
big
we
deal,
make,
but
and by the way, folks, I appreciate all the newsletter stuffers and the time they give, but we print 725 menus for a reason. We don't need to be printing 1,000 and then have them sitting in a box.
Yeah.
So I have started putting newsletters around at all the area banks and the library.
Okay, good.
I did it because I saw that, I found the list. Dawn, one of our shuttle drivers for August and going forward, will take responsibility for dropping at all the area banks. I don't think the menu needs to be in it for that, but if you think so, we can certainly do it. But she said it also goes to the Congregational Church, the Parish Hall at Immaculate Heart of Mary, if you can get in it. It's locked. The Pizza
library?
Palace. I did the library, I did Florence Savings Bank, East Hampton Savings Bank, and Polish National Credit Union. Okay?
you got it.
I think
That's
those are the Someone said Dressel's as well, but do people really read the newsletter at Dressel's? Waiting?
And I don't think they sit down long enough.
No, I don't think they do.
What about Pizza Palace?
Well, it was on the list. I guess I could.
Yeah.
All right.
That's good, we go there. Might
What
be
about the
good.
liquor store?
What about it?
They got a place in there where you can leave.
Granby Liquor?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I never go in there. No, I'm teasing. What liquor stores? Okay, all right, we can do that. So those are in there. We'll try and work on that
Yeah.
menu and see if we
Yeah,
can make it
it's
more
okay.
legible.
Like I say, we found it small.
The other thing I'd like to ask is, I brought this up a couple meetings ago, is I've been still mulling, and I think I'd like to pull I'd like to act on it. The food pantry.
Oh, yes, we talked about it the last time.
Yeah.
We were going to.
I'd like to send the application up to Judy DeLong at the high school, middle school. And because our under 65 food pantry user list, people in need, is very small right now. It went from 5 to 2, and we have a lot of food. So I'd like to open it up in Granby to households of need that typically maybe it wasn't publicized to. And then if that doesn't work in 6 months, then I'll go to neighbors, to helping neighbors in South Hadley. But I don't want to see food expiring and not being used, okay?
Now, you're gonna open it up to,
So,
because I have on last time that you were going to, blah, 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 send the food pantry application to Judy DeLong to
Right.
see if the fit is good with the folks they serve. So, now you wanna open it up further, is that what you're saying?
no, I have to send it, but
Okay.
I want to know if there needs to be a discussion and whether you'd
No.
like to approve that. It's okay?
Okay, so,
Go for
Okay,
it.
I will. Okay, good. That's it for me. Do you have questions for me?
I think we're all set with that.
Okay.
we'll have to delay the nominating committee report because the nominating committee isn't here.
Right.
And so we'll do that in September. We don't meet in August, our next meeting is September 15th at 9:30.
About the
When do we
nominating, did anybody notice over at the Polish Credit Union that the lady who used to be on our board, who used to work there, God, I can't do names. All right, she was on the board, she worked at the Polish Credit Union.
Oh, yeah, Lynn Trumpy?
There we go. She's now retired. Maybe
Yeah.
somebody would like to reach out to her. You think she would like to come back, maybe?
Yeah, we already have one other person that we have on there, and that would fill it up completely.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll mention it. to
Maybe on the
Don when I
next-
see him,
yeah, next round.
That's a thought, because I just knew she was retired.
Yeah, she retired a couple years ago.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Before all this nonsense.
I wanted to ask her a quick question. When do we do the Thanksgiving baskets?
November?
November.
Right close to Thanksgiving.
I'm just thinking about like putting together a little collection at the branch. And I didn't know when would be a good time to start collecting.
Probably if you did that in October,
Yeah.
and that way you'd have it ready for November. I think it's a week before Thanksgiving.
So, are you collecting food items? Is that what you?
Yeah, I mean, like
Yeah.
last time, well, not during COVID, but before that, we just had a box out.
Okay,
where we had
that'd be
some-
great.
Fortunately, got a little water in the branch, so I had to get a new box, but yeah, I mean, we got some things, so.
That's good.
Yeah, it
Okay.
helps.
So every month in the newsletter, if you've seen the newsletter, we ask for a different item to build the box. So I just go and I look and I count what I'm stockpiling and see what so for August it's stuffing, but come time to assemble, I know we're going to be needing to supplement. So it can never be prepared too early enough. So,
Yeah.
Check your expiration dates, though.
well, I am. I'm purging.
Oh, goodness, it's awful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've put a sign out on our donation bin that says, "Thank you for your donations, but please no expired goods," and no one reads that part. We took 5 boxes of food yesterday from someone who's moving, and I'd say 3 boxes were badly expired.
Oh, wow.
So, it's awesome.
Anything else?
need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
We have a second?
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.